Hello, I'm Dara Bunjon. I'm the food enthusiast here at J Moore Living. I'm a food writer, food stylist, PR maven, and a frustrated baker. Those of you joining us for the live broadcast, please drop your questions or comments into the comment box, and I will check that from time to time. I want to welcome our sponsor, the Pearlstone Center. Pearlstone offers environmentally friendly, full service hospitality. Their beautiful facilities and natural surroundings create the optimal setting for memorable events and group gatherings. Our second sponsor is the Howard County Restaurant Week. Maryland is open for great dining. Celebrate neighborhood food, drinks, and community while supporting area restaurants during Howard County Restaurant Weeks and craft beverages. From January 16th to the 29th, discover culinary gems, chef specialty menus, and craft beverage debuts. Find participating locations and learn more at howardcounty.com. Today's guest is Chef Taueret. Khepera. I'm doing it again. I'm messing it up. Taueret Thomas, a 20 plus years culinary professional. She has and is wearing many hats: entrepreneur, chef, culinary administrator and educator, consultant, brand ambassador, and as she says, a culinary maven whose passion for food is endorsed by other culinary professionals from her uncompromising standards and discipline in the culinary arts. Let's welcome Taueret.
Hi there.
Hi, Taueret.
Thanks for
Good
having me on.
afternoon and welcome. Other than the show today, what else is on your plate?
Oh my goodness. So much. Well, as we were speaking offline, I'm a caregiver. So, yeah, my parents are still living. My mom, though, is surviving Alzheimer's. So she has probably um, been diagnosed for the last maybe 10, 12 years. So she's in the later stages of Alzheimer's. And so, yeah, I'm a caregiver in assisting my father with her daily quality of life.
Right. You have become more vested in developing food plans because of the caregiving for your grandmother, who may she rest in peace, and for your
Mhm.
mother. What walkaways have come out of working with seniors to officially Khepera's Kitchen? To how is that tied in?
Right. Well, Khepera's Kitchen is an elite chef service, and I customize meal prep for clients and organizations. I do private events and catering, and on the weekends, I operate a brunch a brunch service only on Saturdays and Sundays. Um, and so with my meal prep, I transitioned to that primarily when COVID hit. And yeah, the majority of my clients are seniors. And with that, um, they want to eat the way they want to eat. They don't want to sacrifice flavor, right? They want to have more of the meat and potatoes type of heartier meals, and not so much into being too adventurous, but I utilize a lot of organic ingredients. I cook with fresh herbs. If you change how you season with herbs and lemon juice, zesting, those types of things, you can get some flavor. And I can, especially when I have to, you know, compromise on the salt intake.
Right. Well, I learned a ways back that as we get older, we tend to lose, the majority of us tend to lose our sense of smell.
Mm-hmm.
And from our nose, we get hundreds of flavors from our tongue, 4 or 5, sweet, sour, bitter, salty, umami. That's all you get on your tongue. The rest is through the nose. So what you're doing is putting some aromatics and things back in there that are taken out for the lack of salt and the lack of smell.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's I mean, most of the times, I mean, I have been able to introduce quinoa to some of my clients. I love fennel, I love leeks, so utilizing a variety of other types of vegetables than what your standards are used to, not just your spinach and broccoli,
right.
you know,
You
but
can
they have been
you
pleasantly pleased. I mean, my client roster, some of my clients I've been cooking for 6-7 years, and so I think it's a good service.
um your business is called Khepera's Kitchen. Can you
Hmm.
tell us more about your culinary evolution from the youngest and first woman of color to lead a culinary college in the state of Maryland to Khepera's Kitchen?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you. I mean, I think things happen, for a reason. I started my culinary, I guess, education, culinary administrator um, um, life back in 2001. Um, I used to run the culinary operations for the Hospitality, Culinary Arts, and Tourism Institute at Anne Arundel Community College. It was, considered at that time the premier um, educational venue for culinary
Hospitality.
education and
Yeah.
hospitality. If you were thinking about transitioning into this field. Um, and then I left them in 2008, and I became the culinary director for Lincoln Culinary Institute, which was located in Columbia, Maryland. And I left there in 2015 because, one, I became a caregiver to my grandmother. Um, she was living at the time with my aunt. She came back to Baltimore. And so, I decided that I was, needed a little bit more flexibility because with running a culinary college, I mean, long hours, no different from being in the trenches of, working in the hospitality field, but long hours, a lot of demands, and so I decided to rebrand um, my personal chef service that I started in 1998. I rebranded it to Khepera's Kitchen. I thought it was a little easier on the tongue, and the whole idea was that um, I'm always was telling my students, you can start your own business. You can do this for yourself. You get some experience under your belt, and what do you have to lose? Sometimes you got to bet on yourself, and so that's what I did with starting Khepera's Kitchen. I bet on myself. Many years of culinary experience, um, and I really do love to cook.
Well, you
That's
had
what brought
mentioned to
me.
me, we sort of did a pre-interview. We were catching up
Mm-hmm.
because we've been acquaintances for a number of years, going back to at least when I was at Van. So that's like
Mm-hmm.
2002, 2003.
Right.
Um, that, you know, I like the idea that, you are betting on yourself and you're teaching the students the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
to take that opportunity to put yourself out there. And not only were you talking the talk, you were walking the walk by doing so. You love to cook. That's what we talked about, that
Mm-hmm.
when Kafir, Kafir's Kitchen, God love
Khepera,
me,
Khepera.
Khepera.
The P.
With a P.
Yes,
Khepera.
Khepera.
I'm sorry, gang. I'm just addled at this. That you love to cook. So
Mm-hmm.
you have, this is down in Baltimore's Waverly neighborhood on 31st Street near York. And that is where your kitchen is, but it's also, you do brunch twice a month.
Yeah,
And that
this
right.
yeah, the
And you,
second and fourth weekends of the month, Saturdays and Sundays from 10 to 3, I
right,
operate my brunch cafe.
right. You say
And
you love to be behind the line.
yeah,
What
it's
is it that you love being, here it is, all the tickets are running in, you're crazy. What is it that you love about working the line?
it is an adrenaline rush, and the satisfaction that you're able to produce a meal for someone in matters of minutes, fresh food that is your vision, right? um, I come up with the recipes. Sometimes I test them and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm like, look, this is what I want to do, and I'm just gonna, I'm gonna try it and see how it works. Um,
And
but
everyone lived to talk about it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, my thing is that I started Khepera's Kitchen because I said, if I cook it, they will come, right? And I wanted to have that satisfaction in knowing that I'm doing my own thing, and I absolutely love it. It's the adrenaline rush of being on the line. It's the satisfaction you get from guests. You hear them saying, "Oh, this tastes so good." I mean, we like that, the ego that comes into play, right, with being the chef. You
Well,
want
that
to
that
hear the the
the,
the
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 raves, the
satisfaction and
kudos,
the
right,
oohs and the
right.
ahs and this tastes good.
Well, I
um
give you credit. I would never, somebody said you should open, to me, you should open a restaurant, you should do this because I'm above average as a cook. And I said, nope, I'm not going to charge people for food because all of a sudden they get taste buds. I like doing it for free and I want them to cavell over it. I want them to say, oh, it's delicious and this, that, and the other. If I
mhm.
charge them, I might not get those cavels that.
Well, that's the fine line that we have to walk. Everyone is a critic, and sometimes a restaurant or a chef is not for everybody, right? But it's
There are
just
many.
the love of the love of the food. I mean, when I think about it, I really have been cooking since I was probably about 7 years old. Um, with the insistence of my grandmother, actually. I started making pancakes one day because I was frustrated that her pancakes always came out, a little too dark. They didn't taste so good. They were a little, hard. And so, I said to her, why are they always like this? And she said, well, you can read. She gave me the Betty Crocker cookbook. She gave me a step stool, and she said, you can make them yourself. And so
Oh,
I always
wonderful.
had joy from cooking. But I really didn't think about it until after, I finished with college and went on to work in the healthcare field. Um, I took a cooking class as just something to do one day. And I absolutely fell in love with the whole idea of what it meant to be a chef and to cook in a professional way. And, you know, I I I jumped off the ledge, I drank
You
the
went in and
Kool-Aid.
off
It's
feet
hard work.
first. Feet
It's hard.
first.
It's unbelievable. I mean, you know, being an entrepreneur and having your own business, that's an added level of stress. But I wouldn't,
Change
I
it.
wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it. I mean, I celebrated 6 years being in business in October of 2022. I survived COVID, and it's a blessing to be able to cook for others. It really
Right.
is. That's how I view it. It's my calling.
Great.
Um,
We're going to
and
take a short break for our sponsor, the Pearlstone Center, but we'll be back in 15 seconds.
Okay.
Pearlstone Conference and Retreat Center offers environmentally friendly, full-service, farm-to-table hospitality. Our beautiful facilities and natural surroundings make the optimal setting for memorable events and group gatherings. PearlstoneCenter.org.
See, that was quick.
That was quick.
A friend of yours, I believe, Monica LaPenta, is saying that she's loving this conversation.
Okay, yay.
We're glad you're there, Monica. Thank you for joining us.
She is a diehard bruncher. She's loyal, and she's just one of my biggest supporters. And that's what the thing, Khepera's Kitchen is a place where community comes. So diverse individuals, but the community support that I have received is awesome. I mean, it's the place where people want to share a meal, share some conversation. You can watch me cook.
Right, and it becomes a community because
Yes.
a lot of the people that come to brunch are the same ones that are coming every other week. They won't miss it.
Yeah, yeah. And giving us support and good feedback and sharing their experience. I guess one of our motto is good food, good mood.
That's
right.
What
it says on my shirt here. Good food.
I think somewhere it said God food. It's supposed to be God food, good mood.
Yeah.
I just want to remind people to let them know to learn more about Khepera's Kitchen. The website link is up in the comment box, and Khepera is spelled Kheperas, kitchen.com. And everything you need to know will come up there, and her social media, all the links will be on her website. So I don't want you to miss out. I recently saw a video of Chef Marco Pierre White. He's gotten Michelin stars. He's the bad boy of food. And here's what he said. He said, to get that Michelin star, it takes consistency. It is what is needed to be a successful chef. How does one teach consistency to students?
Oh, well, that's a good question. I mean, one of the things that I always implemented with my students is that you have to taste. You have to develop your palate. I would say that technique is paramount. And approaching, I guess, your food the same way. So, meaning that, before I start cooking, I'm mise en placing. That means to gather all of your ingredients and as well as your equipment in its place. And I do the same thing in repetition, right? So, repetition is gives you that technical ability as well as the skill to be able to be consistent. But right. A lot of the students, when they would present for their tastings and classes and things, I would go around each of the classes and I would taste the food, and I would say to them, did you taste this? And most of the times they would say no. And I was like, why would you want to give your guest or, your client or your chef of something that you haven't tasted? So you're gambling. So, you have to taste your food and be able to, think about the actual flavor profiles that you're wanting to give. I mean, certainly, in the industry, we talk about standardized recipes, but, my experience has been that I can do a recipe one way, even though the recipe is the same. Um,
And I could do it and it would taste
you
different.
could do it in another way. It could taste totally different. So
Right.
for me, consistency is really making sure that you are tasting the product, but approaching the food in
Right.
in a skilled technical manner.
I want people to know how involved you are in community. You're a board member of the Waverly Main Street membership and the Membership Hospitality and Tourism Workforce Development Roundtable for Visit Baltimore. That you have, you graduated summa cum laude with your associate's degree in hotel and restaurant management, bachelor's degree in political science, and philosophy from Fosburg, the master's degree in public administration from the University of Baltimore. You were a HUD fellow, that you are involved, you're a resident chef and leadership advisor for Black Girls Global Exchange, a youth-led revolutionary peer learning and cross-cultural movement. You were so involved in community, so involved with opening the doors for women chefs, also Black women chefs. So it's hard enough. We talked even pre-interview. It's hard enough to break into the boys' club as a female chef. You're very much involved with Black women chefs and managing to break barriers. Are more doors opening now? It seems to be that we are seeing a bigger gap in the door for women.
No, absolutely. I think, the tide has changed in terms of certainly social media playing a large role in providing visibility and access to, a lot of chefs that, you didn't see 20 years ago, because we're still not featured too much in the magazines, the professional magazines, Bon Appetit and Gourmet, Food and Wine, and all the. I mean, but it's coming. So social media has played a big role in giving us access. But also, I mean, I think a lot of people are taking a chance, like I said, betting on themselves to say, you know what, I can do this. I can start my own business. I have a following. I'm going to believe in myself, and I'm going to give it a shot. I think the openness of I guess people to know that food is something that we all need. It's universal. It brings people together. You share traditions. I mean, it's not uncommon that this is what we do in the Black community in terms of food with celebrations and all of those things. But yeah, we're not afraid to do our own thing.
I see locally here in Baltimore a greater number of women. We have Kat Smith, who's been on the show, who's just called me chef and has built a community there. Dave Thomas's wife Chef, her first
Tanya,
name,
Tanya,
Tanya.
Tanya
Yeah,
Thomas. Yep.
Tanya's been on the show. Elle Simone from
Hmm.
America's Test Kitchen has been on, and she was the first Black female chef that we got to see on national TV.
Yeah.
And she worked the Food Network. She did a lot of different things. So yes, I'm seeing more and more, and I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled for women chefs. I'm thrilled for Black women chefs. Black women have been the center of food throughout
Ages.
eternity.
Ages.
You know,
Ages.
we can
Yeah.
talk Southern food, and that's a whole other show.
Yeah.
Delynn Rich, Vera Fennell, and Charlotte Thompson are all saying great interview and giving you big highs. So
Oh, well,
welcome
thank you.
everybody
Yeah.
for watching the
Well,
show.
let me tell you. Well, my very first mentor, um, uh, was Diane Charlotte Thompson. I call her Diane. You know, she was at her time. I met her at Piccolo's in Fells Point, and in her time, you know, she was one of the very few Black chefs in the contemporary with Nancy Pierpont, right? Cindy Wolf,
Right.
um, um, uh, Nancy Longo. You know what I
From
mean? And
Pierpoint,
so
right.
she mentored me. It was the first time that I saw a Black woman lead a kitchen. And it
Well,
was fascinating. And so for me, I wanted to learn how to do that, how to run a professional kitchen with discipline, with you know, we had to be a little bit louder than the guys, but with also with technique and with also with empathy.
yeah.
You know, she taught me how to be a little bit faster, how to do line work, because when I came up, we were doing, you know, true brigade
Style
line
kitchen.
cooking that
Yeah,
we don't
that
really do
was
so much nowadays.
no,
Um,
it's become a little bit different,
it's a little bit different. So,
and
you know,
and the man who was it, Eric Repair, who used to be miserable man in the kitchen, screamed, shouted, found
hmm,
Buddhism, and is now,
right,
you know,
yeah,
he's come
yeah,
down. It doesn't have to be the throwing of the pots. It goes back to the Marco Pierre waiter, uh, running a knife up the back of a chef's jacket, which he was
hey,
famous for
I have
too.
some stories that I mean, I worked some places where that was, yeah, yeah, you had to move out the way so
Yes,
you
he
wouldn't get
did.
hit with a pan. But you
Well,
know, but yeah, but I learned to be, you know, at, the years of developing my own style of teaching. Yes, I'm pretty hard nosed and a stickler for technique, because of that training that I received, that brigade system type of cooking. But you know, also in uplifting and empowering other, you know, cooks that have dreams of owning their own business, being a caterer, having their own restaurant, of being nurturing in a way, to help them realize that. And so, you know, that's something
right.
that I love. And so
Yeah,
that's a big part of, you
right.
know, the
Chef,
title of chef is something that is earned. I'm still come from the old school. It's just not
right.
something you know, you finish culinary school and then all of a sudden it's chef.
No, you're
I'm not
always
from that
learning,
school.
always learning.
Yeah, you all I'm constantly learning, you know. Um and
Let
so
me ask you my questions because we're
okay.
okay, because you and I can talk. We were on the phone
Oh my
last week,
goodness.
yada,
Right,
yada, yada,
right.
yada, going over a lot of information. So I always ask these questions at the end of the show. What was your best bite this week?
Actually, it wasn't a bite. Actually, I made some soup. It was mine. I made a tomato, white bean, and kale soup. So it was a nice spoonful. But I had to say, yeah, I I really love soups, and I hadn't made one in a while for myself, and so, yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
haven't
do.
eaten out this week,
Yeah.
or well, actually, I haven't eaten out in the last probably three weeks because I've been on my holiday, so I've been home and I cook for myself,
Yeah. Well, I just did
and
a
I
huge
enjoy it.
stock pot of chicken soup. It's
Hmm.
always going here. And I throw in anything and everything. If you can go back to your 18-year-old self and give yourself a piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh wow. Um, don't procrastinate. Be a risk taker, more of a risk taker. I wish I would have started um yeah, my restaurant a lot earlier. Or even
Okay.
got into culinary a lot earlier.
Right.
So, be a risk taker.
Okay. Okay. Your ultimate culinary fail.
Oh my goodness. I'm trying to think. I'm not a cake baker. I watched my great grandmother. Um, she has always had a family cake, and despite all of my culinary skills, I cannot bake a cake to save my life. And so my sister actually is the one who has carried on the tradition of the pound cake. I mean, and it's not anything elaborate. That's the thing. It's not elaborate. But it never comes out for me. Never.
Well,
So
because it's in some ways it quelches your creativity because you have to follow
probably,
a specific recipe because it's a science. But in my title, it's always a frustrated baker. I
yeah.
do it to challenge myself. And then all I have to do is have a bad session and I'd stop baking for a while. If you woke up tomorrow morning with a new talent, what would it be?
Oh my look. Well, my friends and family who know me pretty well know I love music. I wish I could sing. I can carry a tune, right? I I I I sung on a gospel choir when I
Really?
was in high school, but I really wish I could sing. I think. I love music. Maybe play if I would have stuck with playing my trumpet too, probably.
Trumpet?
A
Okay.
musician, but I love music, so anything around that would probably be.
Okay. Do you
Yeah.
like to have music playing while you're in the kitchen?
Oh, absolutely. People come the to Khepera's Kitchen because of the vibe. We have a great, playlist that we like. I'm a music lover, so it could be jazz one day, it could be reggae another, some soul, some light rock, some yeah,
It's
any
diverse.
yeah. We love music, so people
Yeah.
come for the vibes and the food. So
What didn't I ask you that I probably should have?
oh, well, do I have a favorite food? People ask me that all the time. Do I have
Okay.
a
Well,
favorite food?
well, I know it
And
isn't. It isn't steamed crabs from an earlier.
no, oh my goodness, no, it's not steamed crabs.
What's your
But I
favorite
think
food?
my favorite food, veal. I love veal marsala. It's
So,
probably one of my, yeah.
well,
Um, or
would
veal
you?
sweetbreads. You
Well, I
know,
like sweetbreads. How do you do sweetbreads? How do you prepare 'em? My mother did them in a cream sauce over toast.
no, I like to sear them and do maybe a nice demi glace. But you always gotta poach your sweetbreads in some milk or something like that and some aromatics. And then um, we dredge them and do a nice sear on the outside, so it's crispy on the outside, creamy on the inside,
So,
but with a nice brown sauce or a nice demi glace. Oh my goodness! And that's
you're
the thing. I was a finicky eater when I was
really
younger, but when I went to culinary school, I said I'm going to taste everything. I mean, culinary school changed my outlook towards food. It changed my life. It really did.
Well,
For the
to the
better.
benefit of us.
For the better. And so yeah, but I love veal in particular. So
Taueret, it's been a pleasure. And like I said, you and I can keep talking and talking. Everyone, it's kheperaskitchen.com. Check out Taueret Thomas, and wish you all the best, Taueret. And hopefully
thank
our
you.
paths are going to cross in person sometime soon. Maybe
We
I will
have
make
that
it down.
lunch date. We got to have that lunch date.
Okay. Okay. I leave it to you. It's your calendar.
Okay.
Just know it's not Monday afternoons and it's not
Right.
Thursdays. And
Not
we're good
Mondays
to
and
go.
Thursdays. Absolutely. And I'm open this weekend actually, from the 21st and 22nd of yep.
We're going to talk offline. I'll catch up with you and we'll pick a
Gotcha.
time and a place.
All right.
Everyone, Taueret Thomas, Khepera's Kitchen. I'm finally saying it correctly. kheperaskitchen.com. Thank you so much, Big Waz. And I'm just going to go with a couple more announcements.
Okay. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. We're back here, just me and you. Next week's show, Chef Beth Dennis and Lee Johnson, Sales and Marketing Director of the Lord Baltimore Hotel. The hotel has been recognized by the Historic Hotels of America as Best City Center Historic Hotel and one of 10 best historic hotels by the USA Today. The Lord Baltimore is home to the Lord Baltimore Tavern, Lord Baltimore Bistro and Bakery. And they do fabulous events. It's just gorgeous for weddings. So we'll be talking to both of them next week and talking about food. Maryland is open for great dining. Celebrate neighborhood food, drinks, and community while supporting area restaurants during the Howard County Restaurant Weeks and Craft Beverages from January 16th to the 29th. Discover culinary gems, chef specialty menus, and craft beverage debuts. Find participating locations at learn more at visithowardcounty.com. If you need to reach me, you can reach me at my email address, food@jmoreliving.com, or Instagram at Dara Cooks. All shows are immediately archived in video form on JMOR's Facebook page and jmoreliving.com. Feel free to dig into our video archives of past shows. We truly appreciate it when you share our show with your friends and family. And as I like to end my shows, may your plates always remain full. I will see you next Thursday. Have a great week.